What's going on, fight fans? It's your host Sebastian, and welcome back to the Boxing Tip. So I recently ran across some pretty good news. Felix El Diamante Verdejo is making his return on February 3rd, 2017 versus a relatively unknown opponent named Oliver Flores. Now, if you guys watch boxing enough or paid attention to Felix Verdejo, he's an undefeated prospect from Puerto Rico. The kid is an excellent fighter. In my view, the kid is an excellent fighter. Had a pretty good amateur career. One of what I feel like is one of his biggest accolades is that he actually lost to Vasyl Lomachenko, thus enabling him to go to the Olympics or to compete any further in the Olympics. I'm not sure if it was in the Olympics or if it was for like Olympic trials. I just know it had something to do with the Olympics. Was actually beaten by Vasyl Lomachenko in the Olympics. But that's not the accolade that I'm talking about. Vasyl Lomachenko is actually referred to Felix Verdejo as the best amateur he's ever faced. If you guys go on YouTube, you can watch the bout between the two. Felix Verdejo, I mean, he kept his own in the fight. Obviously, that was a different, time, different skill levels between both guys. Of course, Felix Verdejo was about 17 years old at the time of the fight. Now he is, he's matured. He's gotten bigger. He's became more of a man. Now, one of the biggest complaints about Felix Verdejo is that he hasn't looked like overly spectacular in his HBO performances or his televised fights on HBO. One of my biggest complaints with that argument really is that look at the fighters that he was in there with. A lot of them were a lot of rugged Mexican journeyman, type of fighters who were either trying to, make a name for themselves or just fighting to make a living. Understand something, a lot of those rugged Mexican fighters from Mexico, these guys are like tough as fucking nail fighters, you know what I'm saying? They're not in there to be taken out easily. I don't see where the matchmaking makes sense. If you want to put Felix Verdejo in there with someone he's going to look spectacular against, get someone his own age, for one. Someone who's relatively similar to him on a competitive level. Obviously, as far as boxing, as the boxing skills go, he has been unmatched in his professional career so far. Granted, he hasn't faced the best level of competition out there. He was scheduled to face 135-pound champion Terry Flanagan. He was actually his mandatory, but the fight was supposed to take place on November 5th. But as you guys all know, or the guys who bothered to pay attention to Felix Verdejo's career, he suffered from a motorcycle accident, some head trauma, minor lacerations. He got beat up pretty bad. You see the picture. He looks a little messed up, dinged up, but he's recovered from that. So the fight between him and Terry Flanagan wasn't gonna happen. But now that he's back and he's gonna start fresh early next year, I'm excited because I've been watching Felix Verdejo for a while now, and man, the fucking kid is so talented. He's so good. He possesses very good boxing skill. He just hasn't had the opposition to kind of really bring the best out of him yet. You know what I'm saying? Matchmaking him with a bunch of Mexican rugged iron chin fucking fighters and shit, like that's not gonna do you any good, you know what I'm saying? It's not gonna really give you an opportunity to look spectacular, especially with a boxing-minded first fighter like Felix Verdejo. I know he presents a lot of punching power. He's pretty stocky kid, man, very muscular, he can be aggressive at times, punches with beautiful form, beautiful footwork, has pretty good defense. It could be improved, but for the most part, he has very good defense. Great foot movement, like I said. I would go into him in a little bit more detail, but I want to see him face top-level competition first so we can see what really gets brought out of this kid. I feel like he is a gem in the boxing, or at the 135-pound division, because we know he's good. We just don't know how good he is yet. But for me, in my personal opinion, he passes my eye test. You know what I'm saying? He passes the eye test. He's a very good boxer. This guy, Oliver Flores, once again, he's, kind of journeyman status, has a few losses. His last fight was against 130-pound former champion Takashi Uchiyama. Got a stoppage loss from him. Takashi Uchiyama, for the hardcore boxing fans know, is a devastating puncher and usually blows out a lot of guys that he fights, up until recently when he was stopped in the second or third round by current titleist at the 130-pound division, Jezreel Corrales. Now, you guys hear me mention Jezreel Corrales a lot. I feel like, that he's one of the top competitors at the 130-pound division. They actually have a rematch scheduled for December 31st, I'm pretty sure, of this year, the last day of the year. So we're going to see how that plays out. Uchiyama has a chance to get his vengeance. But Oliver Flores, I haven't watched too much film of the kid. He's coming out of Nicaragua. He seems like a decent fighter. He seems like a good opponent for Verdejo to kind of get that return showcase kind of fight back after his motorcycle accident, just to kind of test the waters and see how he's doing physically. Me personally, I think it's going to be a good fight for Verdejo. I think he's going to be able to once again show that he is a top competitor at the 135-pound division, whether you guys believe that or not. I personally do believe that. I think the kid's a big threat to anybody at 135 pounds. So I guess it's just a wait and see thing. But I like fighters like this because he's still so young. He's so good, but he's still so young in his career where a lot of people, can make early judgments like, oh, he's fucking amazing. He's the best boxer at 135 pounds. That's not what I'm saying. I just told you he passes my eye test, and the kid is a very good boxer in terms of his skill set. Or people can be like, oh, he's just a, fucking another Puerto Rican fighter, your average dude, doesn't fight that great, the kind of bullshit that comes out of some fans' mouths, I don't agree with a lot of that shit. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't take an expert to see that Felix Verdejo is a good boxer. So, you guys are like some of those resume writers, that's what I call them, the resume writers. Resume does play an important factor in a boxer's career, but it doesn't mean that he isn't a great, or a good boxer early in his career. You know what I'm saying? Because he's still young. He's like really young. Shit, I think he's younger than I am, and I'm pretty fucking young. So yeah, the kid's great in my opinion. All the resume writers, give him a chance. You know what I'm saying? Just give him a chance. Don't cast too early negative judgments on the kid now. Give him a chance to prove himself. You know what I'm saying? If he isn't facing top level competition, don't bash him for it. You know what I mean? It's not worth bashing him for it. He's not trying to coast easily through his career. The kid, he was a great amateur fighter. Obviously, there's a major competitive spirit. Money isn't going to be an issue for this kid. You know what I'm saying? He's another good fighter coming from Puerto Rico who has a gigantic fan base for such a small, country. Not to mention he's Puerto Rico, you're Latino, so Latinos like to back up their fighters, you know what I'm saying, regardless of their origins, you know what I mean. At the end of the day, he's a Latino. Not that it really matters or anything, but I'm just saying when it comes to making money, this kid has the opportunity to make a lot of money, Felix Trinidad, Miguel Cotto, you know what I'm saying, just to name a few major Puerto Rican stars. So, but I like the kid, man. I'm excited. I will definitely be watching. Unfortunately, it won't be on HBO. I think Solo Boxeo on the Unimas channel will be the ones airing the fight. So, nevertheless, if you guys got Unimas on your cable, whatever cable provider that you guys go through, make sure you check them out, man. Make sure you check them out. And come back to me and just mention his name when I make my prediction video, when I make my my post-fight review video of Felix Verdejo. Just watch the fight, take the time, DVR it. If you don't feel like catching it live, DVR it, or go on YouTube and watch Felix Verdejo's previous fights, and then just kind of let me know what you think of him. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm excited for this kid. I really am. I like what I see, and I'm curious to see how his career is going to progress. Obviously, there's been some talks of issues with his dedication to the sport. Him, being such a young kid and getting so much attention early on in his career, I can assume that it would, present a lot of distractions, but, maybe the motorcycle accident humbled him a bit. If, that were the case, maybe it makes him, be like, okay, well, I got the gift, now just let me take full advantage of my gifts, you know what I'm saying? Let me apply them in the ring and show these people that yes, I'm a dedicated boxer. I love the sport, and I'm gonna make you guys believe that I am as good as people are saying that I am. But that's all I pretty much got for this subject. Make sure you catch the fight February 3rd, 2017. Make sure you check him out. Come talk to me about him. You know what I'm saying? He's a early in his career, good prospect. Number one mandatory for Terry Flanagan. I think that's a good fight that might happen sometime in 2017, assuming everything goes, according to, or in a, just in a good situation. Hopefully we'll get to see that fight. I'd like to see this kid get his first title shot. I think he's earned it. I think he's good enough, to make a big statement at 135 pounds. And everybody who's competing there, like Mikey Garcia, Yuriorkis Gamboa, I think he's still fighting at 135. Dejan Slatisanin, Robert Easter Jr., he's a fireball too, man. I like him too. Richard Comey, I know he has a loss to Robert Easter Jr., but the dude is a great fighter. That was actually a pretty epic battle between him and Easter. So, the 135-pound division has some great fighters, guys, and I think it deserves some attention. I think that all the smaller weight classes can be somewhat overlooked, you know what I mean? And it takes a fighter of the status of Vasyl Lomachenko to actually get people to start, or like Guillermo Rigondeaux, to get people to start paying attention to the lower weight classes, or like, Roman Gonzalez, Carlos Cuadras, Naoya Inoue, Estrada. There's another guy in the lower weight classes from the Philippines. I can't remember his name. Nieta something, maybe. It's something like that, but that fucking dude's a beast too. So the lower weight classes, man, are fucking popping. From 135 down, there's some really, really good fighters, very talented fighters competing. You know what I'm saying? So, but like I said, comment your thoughts. Let me know what you think about Felix Verdejo. Let me know your matchup that you would like to see from him in the future once he gets, his return fight over with. Assuming he wins, you know what I'm saying? Assuming anything can happen. But assuming he wins, let me know who you would like to see him up against. Whether he takes his title shot with Terry Flanagan, whatever options he decides to pursue. But I want to know what you guys think. Also, share the video with your boxing homies. Introduce somebody to boxing. We can never have enough fans. Subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to pump out videos every single day. Tuesdays and Thursdays, you might not get a video out of me, but I always try to make the time. Maybe it's late at night, you know what I'm saying? I usually got some things going on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so I try to get these videos pumped out every single day. Subscribe to me, and then I'll talk to you guys on the next one. Peace out.